All right, folks, welcome on in here to our user group webinar for Church Windows. We're going to be talking about a topic in the donations module today. We're going to be covering exporting names and giver numbers out of Church Windows so that you can then send that off to another company um, for use for perhaps printing labels and things along those lines for you. So today specifically we will be talking about exporting uh, data out of Church Windows for envelopes. For labels with giver numbers on them. My name is Jim. I'm coming to you live on a rainy and cold day here in Columbus, Ohio. We are letting the spirit of the season carry us through, however. So before we get started on the topic, let's talk about your GoToWebinar control panel. You've got this control panel on your screen that has a little red button on it that you can use to either minimize or maximize that GoToWebinar control panel. Minimizing it gives you a bit more room on your monitor for real estate to see what we're talking about in our class here today. Maximizing it gives you access to the features in that control panel, including the questions box. I am joined here today by nobody. It's just you guys and me today. So as we go through our webinar here today, if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in there. I will take a look at them as I can as we go through our webinar here today, and then at the end of the session, if you have any additional questions, we'll kind of talk them through. Please limit any questions that you have to general questions about the topic. If you have a specific question about your situation, I would direct you to our support line number, which is at 800-533-5227. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you two different ways of exporting data out of Church Windows. The first one is going to cover exporting data out of the donations module itself. This is going to be for folks who don't have access through security into the membership module. Probably the best place to export this information out of Church Windows is going to be from that membership module, but not everybody has access to it. So I'm gonna show you the way you would export it if you only have access to the donations module first, and then after I've done that, I'm going to show you the way to export it from membership, which is a bit more flexible. So like I said, first we're going to start in the donations module. So this is the situation we're talking about is if you want to take this data out of Church Windows and you want to get your labels or your envelopes printed out for next year's envelopes that you're going to have, assuming you've got everything straightened out with your giver numbers for next year, how we're going to get this data out of Church Windows so that some other company can format these for you. Here in donations, what you'll want to do in order to do this is to go to your reports/export tab here along the top, and you're going to go to lists and labels button located right there, that one. And then clicking on that one, we're going to go to list giver numbers. So going into list giver numbers here, it's going to default to unassigned numbers, but what you want to do is select where it says assigned numbers. And at the top here, you want to make sure you set it use numbers current as of. The assumption here is that you want to print these numbers for the 2016 year. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this to January 1st, 2016. You just click in the address, or pardon me, the date field here, and you just type 01/01/2016. Numbers current as of January 1st, 2016. If you have a particular range of giver numbers that you want to use, you can set that range in the upper right-hand corner here where it says giver number range. A lot of organizations have member numbers like in a range of 1 to 200, and then if you, or whatever, a specific range of numbers that you want to print to. So I'm going to set mine to 1 through 200. In this example, that would just be the folks whose information I want to export out of the program. And that's really all you have to do here. If you check here, there's two export buttons, and where a lot of people get tripped up is they use this export button down here, which is not the one you want to use. The one you need is the one right over here where it says export to text file. The problem with using the button at the bottom is one of formatting. What the export button at the bottom of the window does is it basically tries to take the version of the report that you get when you click print and translate that into a document. What the export to text file does is just take the data itself and format it in a text document for you. So this is the format you need if you're going to be sending this to another company. So when you click on export to text file, you can have it set up as either a comma or a tab delimited file. Comma is the one it defaults to, and it is most commonly the one you'll be using. So I'll select the comma. Notice it defaults to your My Documents folder. I'm logged in as Kellyanne here, so that's why it lists that. And it's going to create a file called giver number list.csv. The checkbox for uppercase addresses, if you're going to print actual labels, it capitalizes everything. The post office on letters that you mail prefers everything to be capitalized. So if these are actual labels you're going to use for mailings that you're going to drop in a mailbox, you'd want to use that uppercase address checkbox in the corner here. For the purposes of sending this data out to another company for your envelopes, that's not going to be necessary. So all you need to do is click OK here. It's going to give you this message. The file has been created in and show you the path. It's going to be in My Documents in this case. Would you like to open that folder? If I click yes, it's going to take me into my Documents folder, all the stuff that we've exported in here. So I'm going to scroll on down to my giver number list. It's a CSV file, so it's going to be kind of formatted as an Excel document. You could just take this document and attach that to an email and send that off to whatever company you're going to be using. If I double click on it, we'll take a look and see what the output actually looks like. It's supposed to be sort of an unformatted type of a thing. Notice here that we've just got the name and the giver number column on here. A lot of folks also may want to see address information on here. Let me take a look at something real quick here because I just realized, yep, that is correct. So that is going to be the basic information you'll have, the owner of the giver number, and the number that they have starting on January 1st, 2016 there. Notice it's not including their address information. So this is the basic one that you can get out of donations. I mentioned at the beginning of the class, though, if you can get access to the membership module, this isn't the best way to do it. That's how you do it if all you have access to is the donations module. Okay, so again, that's under reports and export, under lists and labels, and you'll do the list giver numbers report. Make sure that you select the export to text file button there and you can create that document. Okay, so let's take a look at how to do a data export out of the membership module, and you'll see that you have a ton more flexibility to that export. So I'm going to exit out of donations here. And let's go on into the membership module and take a look at the export function from here. Okay, so in membership, if we want to export names and giver numbers, and we can include addresses if we choose to here, the way in which we'll do that, we're going to click on our reports button here. we're going to select the very top option here where it says reports/directory/export. That takes us to our step 1 window. You see that listed in the upper right hand corner. Step 1, select those who should appear on the report. So this is whose records and whose information is going to go into this text document. This one is usually pretty easy to do because in the upper right hand corner over here you're going to see include those with a number, include those without a number, and then you've got your giver number range here. So again, if this is for giver number envelopes, I'm just going to uncheck those without a number. And the way we did on the other report, we could set a range if we chose to here. So if I wanted to do my 1 to 200, I could do that here as well. Now, notice there's no place to set the date of the giver numbers here. You need to go to the tab along the top of the screen right here where it says Giving/Pledging in order to set that. So on this tab, there is the Use Numbers Current as of Date field right there. Okay. So again, we're going to click in here. We're going to set it to January 1st, 2016. Again, that's on the Giving/Pledging tab where it says Use Numbers Current as of. Okay. So when we click next, now also by the way, there's some other searches you can do here. So for example, if you only wanted the folks on this export to appear, let's say for example, only those who have pledged next year, for example, you could do that under this heading here for pledging include. You would select include only those who pledged, would be the way in which you do that. You could limit it to only folks who pledge to a particular account by going to the Accounts tab along the top. There's many different search options that you have here that you can use. But once you've got this selected the way in which you want it to be, you'll click on your Next button in the lower right hand corner. It's going to take you to our second window where it's the grid that shows us all of the names that met our criteria. So here on our drop-down list here is all of the names that meet our criteria. The window looks a little strange because of the way the webinars format everything here, but this is the window. This is the Step 2 window. So from here, what you'll select in the upper left-hand corner is where it says Mail Merge/Export. That's how you export the data out of membership. Down underneath, when you select Mail Merge Export, this section right here is where you create the format for your export and select what the file is going to be named as well as what fields are going to appear in that file. So the way you use this is by clicking on the tiny little button in here with the plus in it. This little button right here is how you create a new export format here. So when you click on this button, it takes you to this window where you can enter a name for this export. I'm going to call this Envelope Numbers. I'll just name it like that, Envelope Numbers. The reason I didn't put a space in there is because that's going to be the name of the document you create as well. So notice when I click OK, up here in the upper right hand corner where it shows you the file itself, that it's going to give the name of the document here, envelopenumbers.txt. So that first window is where it's going to, you're basically saving what the name of the file is going to be. Now, the cool thing you can do here now is you've got the Select Fields button right here. And this allows you to decide kind of what goes into your export. You get a lot more flexibility with this than the one over in Donations. When I click on Select Fields here, it's going to default to last name and first name, basically, whatever's listed as a preferred name in the membership module. And then you really can include anything else you want with this export. So it's assumed you're going to want to include giver number. So you scroll up to the G's, there's giver number. You can include that here. And if you did want to also include address information, you could do that here. There's going to be address 1, which is current as of today. The reason for that is actually the one you may want to do is the family main, the address 1 family main. And all of these different versions of address 1 has to do with the alternate address that you can set up over in the membership module. There are certain dates that you can set families or individuals to be at different addresses. So the current as of today just says as of this day, which address are they using. But if you do the family main, it's going to pull their primary address, which is probably a more appropriate one to select for this export. So when you select that field, you can either click on the arrow button pointing to the right, and you'll see it add it to our breakdown. You can also double click on a field. So if I go to address 2 family main and double click it, you'll see it appear in your report as well. So address 1, address 2, you'll also want to go to city state, family main, and you'd want to include zip code. So I'll scroll down to the Z's here, and you'll see zip code family main. If I double click on that, you'll see that on there. So you can also include any other fields you want to, whether it's home phone number or email address or whatever you wish to be in this document. When you're done with what you need to add to the document, you click the OK button in the lower right hand corner. That's all going to be in this document. So then you can create it as a tab delimited file, which will give it a .txt file extension. And if you give it a comma delimiter here, it'll give it that .csv file extension. So whichever one you want to do. Notice it's also defaulting to the documents folder here. You could browse to another folder if you chose to by clicking on the little buttons here. But to create your file, you simply click the export button at the bottom of this window. When it is complete, it will tell you the file has been created in this location. Would you like to open that folder? We'll say yes. Here's our My Documents folder. I'm going to scroll down to the E's to find our envelope numbers.csv file. There's our file we just created. You can use that to attach to an email. If you want to double click at it and look at the information in it, you can do so. There's all those folks. Okay. All right. There you go. That's all the information I have for you today. Just again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But outside of that, if you're all set to get on with your day, feel free to click on the X in the upper right-hand corner of your GoToWebinar control panel. That'll exit you out of the session here, and you'll be set to get on with it, last-minute Christmas shopping or whatever you need to get done out there. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope you have a lovely afternoon.